film industry operates more on fear than it does on possibilities. You know? I always feel music is a conversation. It's a dialogue between generations. It's a dialogue between cultures. It's a dialogue between listeners. If your music isn't worth protecting, then it's not worth creating.
As a child growing up, you were so fascinated by keyboards and gadgets that your mother sold her jewellery to be able to buy you. Is that true? To buy your first keyboard?
Oh, yeah. She did it. No, and that's the thing. She did it multiple times. My mother took huge leaps of faith on me.
Wow. And boy, has it paid off.
I was working on Talaash and Satyamev Jayate at the same time, and I felt very badly ill. I was hospitalized.
Yes.
And I had malaria and typhoid together. He said, listen, everybody on the team, a lot of people on the team were saying that maybe you should just step down. We had a week to go before we shot our first episode. Aamir was really worried because we didn't have our first song. Footage of that episode, of that female feticide episode, was so traumatizing. I remember after watching that footage, we just held hands and cried, man.
Yeah. Our very special guest today is somebody who loves football. I'm told he watches a lot of highlights and repeat telecasts in his free time or during his lunch breaks. He's also an avid reader. He's got a huge collection of books in his library. Please welcome Ram Sampath.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
It's an honor and a privilege that you agreed to come.
It's my pleasure.
A fellow Leo, except that you are July born and I'm August born.
Yes.
I have to tell you something very interesting. So I was on your Wikipedia page and it says Ram Sampath, music composer, not to be confused with Sampath Ram, actor.
Yes.
So I followed the link and I went into Sampath Ram to figure out who he was. And on his page it says not to be confused with Ram Sampath. Did you know about this?
No.
Oh, you didn't?
I haven't been to my Wikipedia page in ages.
Okay. So this gentleman, Mr. Sampath Ram, is an actor in Tamil movies. And he made his debut with Shankar in a movie called Mudalvan. And of course, he's done a whole lot of movies. But I'll tell you something more interesting. On my Wikipedia page, it says Vijay Iyer, not to be confused with Vijay Iyer. And the other Vijay Iyer is a jazz musician from...
Of course, it just struck me, yeah. Oh my God, of course, yeah.
So, yeah, that's where we are. So, we're really thrilled that you agreed to come. We've been big fans of your music. Lapata Ladies is such a cult hit. And it's no wonder that, obviously, you've done the music for it because every sleeper hit, if I can use the word, that Mr. Aamir Khan produces has to have music by Ram Sampath. And if I go back in time, the amazingly beautiful series of Satyamev Jayate, where I think you did 14 songs, Talaash, Delhi Belly. So it's a long, beautiful, a journey that you had
Yes.
with Aamir. So congratulations.
Thank you.
On that.
Thank you.
I'm going to take you back. We're going to keep this very, very light, and we're going to have this whole conversational journey starting from your childhood. Much of it has been said, but I'm sure a lot of your followers and people who would want to see you more.
Sure.
This is just like one comprehensive place where, they can. So, your childhood, you trained in Carnatic music and then Hindustani, and then you did piano training.
Yes, it was very haphazard, but yeah, I trained a lot in music.
Yes. So the music was in your household because you come from a South Indian family, and I can relate to it, how that is. But I want to highlight one very interesting aspect which people may not know. Your grandfather, Mr. Ramanujam, was a co-founder of Shanmukhananda Hall.
Yes.
That is such an iconic location or a venue because so many singers, legendary singers have performed there. In fact, the earlier Filmfare Awards used to happen. Do you have any memories of that as a child? Were you ever?
None whatsoever, but the house that I still spend a lot of time in, which is in Matunga, where actually I've created all the music of Talaash and Satyamev Jayate and all that was actually done over there, is the house where a lot of the great musicians, the legendary Carnatic and Hindustani musicians used to come and stay while Shanmukhananda was being built.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So they used to come and stay there. In fact, my grandfather used to accommodate them at home as guests, and mostly even before their performances, even after the hall was built. So they used to stay over there. So that house actually has music in its walls.
Of course.
And I remember when I recorded Aruna Sairam, the great Aruna Sairam,
Of course.
for a soundtrack called Let's Talk. When she had come over to record at Matunga House, she was overwhelmed because it was a house that she remembers as a child. All the great Carnatic musicians used to come and stay.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful house, and it's a beautiful childhood also.
So,
Because I didn't grow up in that house.
yeah,
I grew up.
you grew up in
Chembur.
Chembur.
Yeah, I grew up in Chembur. That house is in Matunga. I moved there after I moved there actually when I entered college. And that's really when I started realizing the value of my legacy.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as a child, you tend to take all these things for granted.
Sure.
But yeah, that's when I realized what the worth of my grandfather's work is. It's really quite tremendous. That entire generation of actually South Indian immigrants who came to Mumbai,
Sure.
deciding that they need to make a world-class venue that they can kind of contribute to society, because at the end of the day, one of the most beautiful things about it is it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Ustad Zakir Hussain has Abaji's Barsi over there every year as well. So it's that kind of venue. It's a venue where you will see all music from around the world, and it's one of the great iconic venues of Mumbai,
Correct.
of the country, in fact. So yeah, it's a tremendous thing to realize as you grow, as you grow up.
Yeah, what a visionary.
Yeah,
Because
that entire generation actually, they were amazing. In fact, even people like say Bade Ghulam Ali Khan Saab, all of them have come to the house and then gone to the venue. So there's a certain kind of aura to that house, and I think I got that love for music through because nobody's a professional musician in the family, but I got that love for music through the love that my family has for music and culture. So it's really quite beautiful.
did that kind of also make it easier for you when you had to make a career choice? Though, of course, like all of us, you went through the grind and got into college and all of that. But I read somewhere that you were, as a child growing up, you were so fascinated by keyboards and gadgets that,
Yeah, my first toy actually was my father's LP player.
yeah,
Yeah, that was my first toy. So I started, I learned, the first thing I learned, and this is something that my parents recall, but I don't remember it. But the first thing I learned apparently was to load an LP
yeah,
and to drop the needle on the exact right
Yeah,
track that I wanted. So that's one of the first things I started doing. But as I got a little older, I started getting obsessed because my house was actually, a lot of people's homes have the television on all day. My house has, our house, my parents' house has music on all day.
sure.
And it's not a conversation filler. It's not background music. They both listen a lot.
Serious listening.
Yeah, serious listening. My father listens to, even today, my father listens to about 2.5 to 3 hours of music a day. And it's silence.
Yeah.
It's like it's a commitment to it. And my father has a deep love for, so I inherit my father's deep love for world music and Carnatic music and rock music from him. And from my mother, I get all the Bollywood. But my mother was also, it's such an unusual household to grow up in because my mother knew exactly which composer had made which song, and she knew the lyricists' names, and obviously she knew the singers. But to know the composer styles, and my mother would tell me this when I was very, very young. She would tell me like Madan Mohan Saab, he's incredible. There's nobody like him. And of course, S.D. Burman, who's probably my favorite composer.
Yeah, you're on record saying that S.D. Burman is.
Yeah, he's probably my favorite of all time. But all of this, Jayadev Saab, like even the more obscure, like C. Ramchandar, and she would give me the details and the inside track on stuff, which was, I think, very fascinating as a child, and really kind of made me fall in love with the back sleeves of albums as opposed to the front, where I'd like to see the credits and I'd like to see what was happening and who had done what and the musicians and the engineers and all of that. So I was just fascinated by the entire process of music making from a very young age.
Yeah.
I started writing songs when I think I was about 8 or 9. My father has cassettes of me, gobbling away and nonsense. But yeah, I mean, I started writing my own songs, but making my own music by the time I was 8 or 9.
And they were obviously encouraging of you.
They were very encouraging. They were extremely, I would say almost like, fascinated by me and my journey.
Were
So-
you the only child?
No. I have a younger sister.
Okay.
But I was always a loner. I'd like to be by myself. I like to be. I'd love listening to music. I just loved spending time by myself listening to music. I loved. We couldn't afford instruments,
Yeah.
so we couldn't afford like a piano or for that matter even a guitar.
Yeah.
But there was a phase where I got into a lot of. I mean, I started making friends who had a lot of instruments.
Correct.
And Chembur having a pretty strong
Yeah.
Christian culture as well. I would go to all my friends' houses and they would have these pianos and these upright pianos, and in fact, they were so sweet. I should give her a shout out. My friend Victor Prosper's sister Joan Prosper was my first piano teacher,
Okay.
and she gave me classes gratis. She was just like, yeah, because I was fascinated, but like every typical Indian musician, I was harmonium style piano playing, so I was the only right hand.
Yeah.
So she started teaching me left hand exercises, and she gave me exercises to practice and stuff like that. It was really sweet. And it was just a beautiful time.
What is even more interesting, and I'll get you the analogy later, because I read somewhere you said that you used to just take a bus without telling anybody as a kid and go all the way to South Bombay, because I think Salim Suleiman's father had a shop
Yes.
which had all these keyboards and stuff, and just so you could observe it closely or place your hand on it. And
Yeah, well, he was the sweetest, He, I used to actually catch, it was a dangerous thing to do, but I used to catch a bus from Chembur, and I used to head all the way to Masjid Bandar.
yeah,
And I found my way into to Mr. Merchant's shop, and I don't know how he found it in his heart to not like panic or like throw me out of the
hey, I'm kidding.
yeah, just showing up, and I used to sometimes I remember showing up in my school uniform, but he was very sweet, and he would give me access to the instruments. That's where I became friends with Salim as well.
Yeah,
Salim was training to be a piano player, and he was taking serious music lessons, and I was just getting into it, and I was fascinated, and I wanted to see more, and I wanted to do more of this. And he would very sweetly call my parents, and he would tell them that your son is here, don't worry.
I tell you what, Ram, in today's traffic, you wouldn't have made it back to Chembur.
Yeah, no, it was a
On the
different
same
time.
day.
It was a different time. It was a different time. It was a very different time.
And also as an extension of that incident, I mean, what you're narrating is a very touching moment. Is the fact that your mother sold her jewelry to be able to buy you. Is that true? To buy your first keeper?
Oh, yeah. She did it. No, and that's the thing. She did it multiple times. So actually what happened was that because I couldn't afford any gear, and I was pretty certain by the age of 12 that I wanted to be a professional musician, a composer.
Yeah.
And I didn't know much about music production. So that's the reason why I started making these crazy journeys
Yeah.
to find out. Because I wanted to be able to control the sound, of what I was doing. And I actually I became a professional composer by the time I was 16. I started working, in looking for work, going to advertising agencies, hounding them to get to give me some work or the other. And as luck would have it, I actually started getting work.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't know if anybody will hire a 16-year-old. I won't hire a 16-year-old. But it was incredible how lucky I was, how fortunate I was. But what happened is that in those days, equipment cost a lot of money. It was really, really expensive.
Yeah.
And I used to work in a studio, a crazy, ungodly hours I used to work. And I also had college. So I had to make a decision of whether I'm going to stay in college or I'm going to, drop out.
Did you drop out?
I dropped out, for sure.
You dropped out?
Yeah. I dropped out. It was, I think...
And your parents were okay with that?
I think they were okay because they saw me starting to get work. So I figured that it's actually down to the fear of whether your child can, fend for themselves or not. So I started, but once they saw that the money was coming in, I think they got a lot more comfortable, So,
Sorry. So this was, you mentioned, and I can't figure out who the person is, but you mentioned somebody called Din Shaw,
yes,
whose studio in South Bombay
yes,
you used to go to.
yeah,
And they said you had to be the engineer here in the daytime.
that's right.
And then only because you could then do your own stuff at night, you agreed to that deal.
That's right. So I was almost working 10 a.m. to 4 a.m. So it was like I would be there at 10 and I would start the day on, either advertising or whatever else was commercial work was going on. And then post like 8:39 at night, like the world would go quiet and the studio was mine.
Yeah.
So I could, learn the equipment better, understand. So I learned engineering, I learned, sequencing,
On your own?
programming, everything on my own. Dinsha would just leave the gear to me. That's all he did. And he just taught me what I shouldn't do. Like what I shouldn't blow the speakers. I shouldn't, like the cautionary stuff. But outside of that, I learned everything myself.
One interesting thing that I discovered while discovering you, you did an interview 13 years back with Sudeep Audio. And one of the comment in that says, "Hey man, finally somebody who used Cubase." I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So early days.
Yes.
And you're on record to say you've done 7,000 jingles.
Yeah, I stopped count at 7,000. Yeah,
So it could be more than that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. I learned to make music really fast.
Yeah.
And the two aspects that I think I really worked on was one was being able to deliver to a brief. And the other was working really quickly, working efficiently. Those two things mattered to me because the gear was not mine.
Yeah.
So when I was working at Dinsha's place, I met two wonderful human beings who helped me out a lot. One was a musician and drummer called Sanjay Maru.
Yeah.
And the other is a gentleman called Jiya Srinivasan, who's a bass player and is a tech head now and who runs his own companies now. And I don't know if I can take the name of another brand, but he's the founder now of Bajao.
Okay.
And Bajao.com. So Jay actually was part. Jay and Sanjay were part of Dinsha's band.
Okay.
And they were like my mentors because I was a 16-year-old and they saw me doing all this stuff. And I kept asking them like, man, should I drop out of college? Shouldn't I drop out of college? And it was that big a decision, of course. But they made it very simple for me because they were like, hey, listen, we think you can do commercial music. So if you can do commercial music, you should be able to make a living. And if you're not really, you want to be another guy, in the system doing the same things, or do you want to be something special, So that was a conversation that I had with them. Both came from, very solid, stable backgrounds. So I took their decision, their opinion very seriously. I took the opinion of my friends from college very seriously. I consulted with my folks and all of that stuff. But it always came down to the same thing. It came down to, do you have the money to buy the gear? To be able to step out on your own. And I didn't have the money. So the first jobs that I did, what I would do is Sanjay Maru had bought a module that was a sampler and a sequencer. And it was very, very difficult to use because you had to, the panel was this half the size of your phone. You know what I mean? It's really tiny. Yeah, really tiny with these tiny buttons.
Yeah.
So I learned to sequence on that and I would rent it from Sanjay. And I would use it. So I would rent it from him in the day and I would finish my work and I would return it back to him at night. So it was a daily rental that I was doing just to keep that, just to get my own work going.
Yeah.
So as soon as I got my first loan, I got a chance to get my first loan. I quit the studio. I got my equipment. And then to pay back that loan, as collateral, my mother had to, pawn her jewellery. And so once I got that back, or once I paid that off and got that jewellery back, then she pawned the house to get me the gear, Wow. So it was my mother took huge leaps of faith on me.
Wow. And boy, has it paid off.
Yeah.
What I want to ask you, this is something I didn't know. She said in the late 80s and early 90s, Delhi was this big hotbed of advertising and jingle making and...
Yeah, it was.
I didn't know that. I could never think of Delhi as...
No, I think one of the things that people don't understand about that time was that because of the advent of satellite TV, there were 3 or 4 hubs for advertising. It was not just Bombay.
Okay.
It was Bombay at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But it was Delhi was big.
Huh.
Chennai was big,
Right.
because ARR comes from Jingles as well.
Rajiv Menon.
Rajiv Menon and all of those, the filmmaker Bharat Bala and all of them making advertising, fantastic advertising films from Chennai.
Yeah.
And there was also Kolkata, So Kolkata had a big advertising scene as well. And slowly the Kolkata filmmakers started coming to Bombay to do their work. So I started working with quite a few of them as well.
Okay.
But it was a very big scene, and we were all deeply connected to each other because I was a big fan of Sehbal, the great guitar player from Delhi.
Yeah.
Sehbal Basu, and we all knew each other from the rock scene, kind of like we knew about ARR from Nemesis Avenue.
Yeah, of course.
And all those boys,
Groups.
Sudheen and all of them, playing. So we kind of knew of each other.
Right.
But I think the only career path that was sane and paid you in check as opposed to giving you, like Bollywood used to give in those days, bales of cash,
Yeah.
was advertising. So I think it was the most natural progression to move into advertising as opposed to becoming a film composer, because that felt like the Wild West, in a sense. The Bollywood genuinely felt like the Wild West.
Was there also, since we're talking about this, and of course much has changed since then, and you're a mainstream film composer, but I take you back 30 years, was there also this unsaid, I don't know if it's unsaid or very obvious, but a class divide, so to say, hey, listen, we're from this fraternity, or was film music looked down upon, at least early in, till maybe someone like ARR came and kind of said it was cool to now do this?
Yeah, I think there would have, it was a very short time, but it existed, because also what happened was that, I think the last epic soundtrack of that era was probably Ashiki.
Yeah.
And after that, it sort of went downhill with like a lot of really crass music getting made in Bollywood, and Bollywood sort of lost its identity for a little while, and it became, I would not say down market, but I would say it became unimaginative, And one of the things that you always expected from Bollywood was, a great romantic song or something like that. So you remember when, it's all unfashionable, and then suddenly Pehla Nasha comes from Jo Jeeta Baisi Karne. So there was always this one burst of magic that would come out, and you just knew that this is it's brilliant. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it had...
So it had its moments, but there was a sense that it was not the
by and large, it was pedestrian.
It was not the place to be.
But then, of course, there was Bazigar that came in 93, then Dilwale Dulhaniya 95, Rangila that came in 95.
That's right.
You are on record saying Dil Se.
Yeah, but I think that was, I think I think a lot of film music in from the 90s is pre-ARR and post-ARR.
Like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think Roja and for me personally, obviously being South Indian, Roja and Tirada Tirada I put together.
Yeah.
But from a Bombay audience, from a North Indian audience, Roja was that line.
Yeah.
Roja in 1942, Pancham Das last soundtrack, I think was that line in the sand, where they said that, okay, things can get better. Things can, improve from this point onwards. So I think that was a change point. But if you notice, till just before Roja in 1942 happened, it was kind of dismal. There was the odd soundtrack that was okay, but it was kind of...
It was the odd soundtrack.
Yeah. Though I must say this, I don't think Bollywood was as vital also because there was a burgeoning indie pop scene, which we were all very deeply invested in. Because we also wanted, I had nothing against film music,
of course,
but we also wanted that scene to happen where you make your music outside of film music.
Yeah.
So that was a very strong kind of passion project for us.
Yeah. And I think MTV and then subsequently Channel Week only amplified it to an audience where non-film music kind of, for lack of a better word, got its due. Because there's a whole lot of stuff happening. So, Bidu with Johnny Joker, for example, or Daler Mehndi and Jawahar Watal.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you go back to Bidu, he's probably the father of it all,
Nazia
with
Hassan.
Nazia Hassan and what he did then. But also, if you think about it, I mean, Pari Hu Main is just genius.
Sunita.
You know, it's pure genius.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Leslie Lewis at his
course.
absolute best.
Yeah.
You know, and Pari Hu Main was a huge influence on us too.
Yeah.
It was a moment when we suddenly went, oh my God, like, you know, what has Leslie done? It's unbelievable. You know? And so there were these kind of bursts of inspiration coming out from the pop scene that we were very excited about.
Yeah. I think because you mentioned Sanjay Maru cut an album as well
Yeah, of course.
in 94 or 95, I
course.
think.
Yeah.
It used to come, it used to get aired very
That's right.
frequently.
That's right. Yeah.
Ram, at that point, you also took up assignments with mainstream film composers as a music producer.
Yes, as a musician and as a music producer, but primarily first and foremost as a musician. Yeah,
And so you work with maybe almost everybody in that,
yeah, almost everybody from that era.
including ARR.
No, not ARR.
No?
No.
Because, okay, so that's interesting.
No.
Because I've discussed this with ARR
Yeah.
much before we met. And so as always, he's like, I said, have you worked with him? Because we kind of, discussed. So he said, yeah, I think on Bombay, he did something. So, and I always had it in me to ask you,
Right.
which soundtrack, or was it Bombay or was it something else?
No, our paths kept intersecting because we would be in the same studios.
Yeah.
And he worked a lot in Bombay
Yeah.
at that time.
4D, I think. At Bombay.
4D, then at XIC.
XIC.
You know, so, and I would be doing commercials over there, and, ARR would, normally he would block book one chunk of time. And most of the times there would be this kind of mythology building around his sessions.
Really?
Yeah, because obviously, I mean, it's ARR and he's changed the scene. you know,
Yeah.
and,
So,
and there was this kind of beautiful energy going back and forth about, I had this thing, this kind of cardinal rule where I didn't work with my heroes. I didn't work with people, musical heroes, you know what I mean? So I tended to avoid, like there was a chance to be able to work with Lata Mangeshkar and I was not so keen on it. Yeah, because I genuinely felt like, I owe my generation that opportunity to be able to kind of show to Lataji that, we're also vital and we can do stuff. I'd much rather rise in their esteem than rather work with them. I was more interested in that. I always feel music is a conversation. It's a dialogue between generations. It's a dialogue between cultures. It's a dialogue between listeners. It's a because the thing is, so much of music is what is not said.
yeah.
And it's the economy of emotion, right? So in 3.5, 4 minute song, you can say so much. It's like literature, So I remember as a child being very moved by the title song of Masoom, Tujhse Naaraz Nahi Zindagi. But it's also the incredible economy of that writing, right? Gulzar Saab's genius, which is Tere Masoom Sawalon Se Pareshan Hoon. That's just genius.
It's such a simple line.
But it says so much.
It says so much.
So that's the magic, I think, of music, and the economy of emotion is it's incredible. There's nothing like it. So I've always felt that, like for example, I was very keen on seeing what the possibilities are with Shan than I was with, say, Kumar Sanu or with Udit Narayan, or I was much more fascinated with working with someone my generation and kind of. So like one of the most interesting things about Tanha Dil is, I think it's, and Shan can fight with me as much as he pleases on this, but I think it's the only song he has sung in his career without a smile.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because he's got a permanent smile. Shan's like, he wakes up with a smile, So there's a sound to that smile of Shan's.
Tell you, there's a reel that popped up yesterday. It is Shan doing an interview in a car, which one I'm referring to. And he's smiling because you said this. And he's only saying, and the reel ends there saying, "Aajkal ye kya gana ban raha hai? Pagal hai, pagal hai, pagal hai, pagal hai." He says that 10 times, smiling.
Yeah.
I burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so sorry, you saying it's the first song he sang without smiling?
I think it's the only song.
was
he
that
sang
your
in his
brief
career.
to him?
Oh yeah, for sure. I wiped the smile off his face.
Why?
Yeah, because it's not a song where you're supposed to smile. So that's the thing, right? So it's great fun as
because Tanha Dil is like a very...
and he's written the lyrics and he has no clue what it means. Like it's this frustrating kind of debate that you have with friends.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of it. I love that process. I love that process of kind of working hands-on.
Yeah.
And if I'm working with a hero of mine,
Yeah.
or an idol of mine, I won't be able to have that equation. So I'm always like petrified of that.
But that's very interesting. I think you never said this before. I haven't heard this before because typically a young cricketer would want to, play with a Virat Kohli or any of his heroes, say MS Dhoni or whoever, and any budding musician. So I meet so many of them. Like, sir, ek baar mere ko isse mila do, which is fine. Everybody has to have a vision and a dream. But this is fascinating that you would turn down if there ever arose an opportunity. And I don't know how many of those opportunities you kind of passed on.
A few, not too many,
Yeah.
but a few. But again, I think it's purely because of the fear that it wouldn't be a full-fledged collaboration. It's just that. There's nothing else. And I feel that every generation has its shining stars.
Yeah.
I would much rather work with the shining stars of my generation. That's how I felt.
Or was it more also to think that, I'm giving you perspective of a startup. Someone offered me employment in a big multinational company versus somebody said, hey, this is a startup idea. Roll up your sleeves. We may work 20 hours a day.
Yeah.
And the joy of creating something, building something versus a joy of, okay, you're doing a regular 9 to 5. Is it something similar?
Yeah.
That you can mold somebody.
I think you have a very good point there. I think it's exactly that, which is, I felt very, very fulfilled kind of molding Shan as an artist and helping mold Shan as an artist. When we pivoted from Lavology to Tanha Dil, and I kept telling him that this is the country where if you want to succeed and you want to have a long-term career, you need to touch people's hearts. Yeah. You can't just have a peppy dance track, and that's fine, but you need to have that incredible ballad that or that song that touches people's hearts. That's our culture. That's what we really gravitate towards. So we learned that lesson, and I'm so proud of the fact that we managed to sell Tanha Dil.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, because it was a hard sell. It was a really hard sell. That album, I only lost on that. I made no money. It was so difficult. It was one of the most difficult projects of my life until then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am imagining Ram telling Lataji, "Hasiye mat." Serious okay, guy.
No, look, she is the gold standard, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So I don't think I learned so much about her technique from Sonu, actually.
Yeah.
From Sonu, and I think to some extent from Chiraiyya, but more from Sonu, working with him, where I realized that he has his own way of notating. So he listens to you sing, and it's a really fascinating process because Dilduba is a tough song. That's the first song I did with him, and there's a lot of octave jumps, so it's very difficult to do that. That was not the time when there was no Antares, pitch correction was either you went completely share, or you didn't have pitch correction.
Right.
And I remember him, listening to me 4 or 5 times and making notes, copious notes of where I was taking a breath, what my tone is like, and incorporating all of that into the way he sang. And I think that's really what Lataji did. When you listen to, say for example, the demos of S.D. Burman or Madan Mohan, or for that matter, Kalyanji Anandji also. If you listen to their demos and then you listen to the way Lataji or Ashaji sang for them, I think there's a lot of the composer that's kind of seeped into the performance. I find that fascinating.
I always say this, and you could probably throw more light on this. I feel because, I'm sure you and your team get a lot of texts or emails or messages saying, I'm a singer. Somewhere I feel bad because I feel the supply is so much and there's only so much that one can funnel into.
Yes.
And also with and I don't blame anybody, but it's just a perspective also with our industry. If something works and people want to keep repeating the same singer or the...
Yeah, I don't think it's fair to scapegoat anybody's success.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not saying that.
No, I hear you, and I'm saying this, I think, mainly to share with the audience. But the crucial aspect is we need to increase the number of opportunities that we give to
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
To other singers. But it's got nothing. One has nothing to do with the other. You can always increase the pie.
Correct.
You can always increase the size of the pie, and that's something that we're not good at.
Yeah.
Because I think our film industry
Yeah.
operates more on fear than it does on possibilities, you know. So it's the fear that drives everybody to kind of do the same old, and the fear of possibilities, you know, and possibilities is what makes you want to try new things. And I think that at that level, I think, you know, there's a fair bit for us to learn from, for the Hindi film industry to learn from. I would say Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, you know. I would say to that extent, even Gujarati and Punjabi are more,
Really?
yeah, taking bigger chances. Yeah, for sure.
But Ram, I want to ask you: is homegrown music your label and your venture in direction a step in that direction to kind of provide a platform?
Yeah, hopefully. But the thing is, you know, again, we've been working out the same thing, which is we've been working out logistics, and we've been working out you know, the corpus
Yeah.
that can be made
Yeah.
first on the basis of what Sona and I put out.
Yeah.
First, to understand what is there for upcoming artists, because a lot of the times what the conversation that ends up happening is, you know, there's this label, oh, they're giving you a lot of money upfront,
Yeah.
and in 2 years' time or 3 years' time, the label shuts down.
Yeah.
So that's a pattern that we've seen very often. I'm sure you've seen this more than I have in the industry. And that's also because of the fact that I think artists don't have a long-term view.
Yeah.
Labels tend to kind of burn out very fast because they tend to spend too much initially. Too much emphasis on videos, not enough emphasis on great songwriting.
Yeah.
So, and not enough emphasis on focusing on the artist's personality and creating a base around that. I mean, for example, someone like Prateek Kuhad, I'm an admirer of the guy. You know, I'm an admirer of not only his music, but I'm also an admirer of how he's positioned himself.
Right.
It's completely authentic. It's who he is. He doesn't sing a note more than he's capable of singing.
There are like a dozen more like in that category. Are you saying all of
But he's the first, right?
Huh.
Yeah. So he gets that first mover's advantage.
Sure.
You know, and now Anup Jain is there. There are others.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Fair enough. I mean, it's good because it takes a scene, you know, and this is the thing that we always learn from watching the rock music scene, you know, is that it took a quantum of about a minimum of 4 to 5 bands for a scene to emerge and a movement to take place.
Yeah.
So that movement was happening when we were in the pop scene. You know?
Correct.
There was Euphoria, there was Lucky Ali, there was Shweta, there was Sunita, there was Shan, there was
Alisha
Sohu, there was Alisha Chinay.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, there were a whole bunch of artists who made a scene.
Yeah.
And that scene is really where you got indie pop from. You know, Colonial Cousins,
Colonial.
brilliance of that. And all of that is really what it takes to make a scene.
Daler Mehndi.
Yeah, so much. The Punjabi scene.
Correct.
You know,
Punjabi scene.
yeah, but the Punjabis have a scene right now because there's more than one artist.
Yeah.
You know, and there's 5 or 6 of them who are doing really, really well.
But would you say now, because you gave this example of Prateek and Anu and all of the, because they have their own cult fan following. So do you think now there are different, say, for the lack of a better word, say, if I have to classify, and I wouldn't use the word genres, but I'm saying for every category of artists, there is a following, there's a dedicated, you know, so people are not, of course, nothing can amplify one's music the way Hindi films do, the canvas is huge.
Films across India, yeah.
But I'm saying if somebody wants to listen to Punjabi, somebody wants to listen to hip hop, there's this whole, you know, guys doing hip hop after Gully Boy especially. And then if someone wants to listen to indie and all of that, they have their fan following. So if you go to any streaming app, you can actually see my kids, they're teaching me stuff that I didn't even know. I mean,
yeah, same here, and I love it. I mean, I don't have kids, but
the younger generation,
the next generation, you know, they keep showing me stuff in the studio which blows my mind, and it's amazing. These artists, emerging artists, who are creating their own kind of you know, silos of popularity is incredible.
Because I think what the one thing, and I agree with you, it's less to do with labels now, because like you, a lot of musicians have now set up their own labels.
Yes.
Because they'd rather not sign away their IPs to the big daddies.
Yes.
And you'd rather have them distribute, or anybody distribute it.
Yeah.
So that at least you are, from whatever you're making, you give back a fair bit to creating more talent and nurturing more talent rather.
Yes.
So is that the vision, and that
is the
eventually
vision. That is the vision. That is the idea
of giving back and wanting to nurture,
and of creating some sort of pathway
Yeah.
for the next generation, for sure.
I take you back to when you said that you were working as a musician and a music producer for some of the leading names back then. Anand Milan. I'm just telling because I was growing up and listening to all these guys. Anand Milan, Nadeem Shravan, Adesh Srivastav, Annu Malik, Jatin Lalit. None of them are around, most of them, except maybe Mr. Annu Malik is still. When you were doing stuff for them, because I'll tell you something similar later, because ARR used to do stuff for Raja Sir, Koti,
Of course.
MSV Sir, and all of these people. So somewhere I thought, okay, there's a similar. Were you, while you were doing that, did this because you hadn't yet transitioned to becoming a film music composer? So what was your thought process of saying, I'm doing this, hey, I can become a film composer myself, or I'm happy doing this, but Jingle is my mainstay? What were you thinking in that time?
Oh,
Or were you thinking, I can better this?
no, I'll be honest with you. I was there to learn, to understand how people think, and to understand, what is the thought process behind, say, a Bollywood. What is the approach to a Bollywood song? Like, for example, I didn't like the long interludes. I always felt that an interlude has to be meaningful. So if an interlude is happening and if there's something beautiful going to be shot, like I was always interested in finding out there's some sort of directorial vision.
How will they?
Yeah, how will you picturize it, or something like that, like or if there's a piece of music that's going to come over there that has a thematic quality to it or something like that. So I was always, and I was working with arrangers like Lalwani Saab, the great violinist. And I learned a lot from him. I mean, it was an incredible kind of learning, like teaching his brains and asking him, Lalwani ji, why this piece of music? Why that? So it was people like that I was keen on hanging out with and learning from. Occasionally on the session, there would be someone like Ranjit Barot. Sometimes there would be on the session, one session I think Ehsan was playing guitar. So I just got to meet people, like-minded people, and kind of just ask questions and find out, And I used to keep running into Ehsan and Law and Ranjit anyway in commercials, in Jingles. And just advice, trying to understand. I think one of the first things that happened to me when I was about 16, 17 is just a lesson in humility. You get pounded into the ground with the idea that, oh, you think you know stuff, and so the first thing that happens in advertising, which is a beautiful lesson, is rejection.
Achha.
You get rejected a lot. So what happens is and for me, the difficult part was that I had no equipment, right? So so if I was going to rent equipment, I realized very quickly, I had to have 3 or 4 options of every jingle.
Yeah.
Because I knew something, immediately after my first jingle, I realized that the first option is never getting approved.
So I want to ask, and probably for our viewers, these are variations within the same tune or completely different tunes?
No, so sometimes I would get I would get lyrics, and I would get a brief. And what I would do is, I would do what the brief said exactly, and then I would create options of that.
Okay.
So, for example, if the brief was to create something in gospel, now I would do that, but then I would also do it in reggae.
Right.
And I would also do one with with like desi rhythms under it, just a slightly Bollywoodized version, just in case. So I learned composition from very different approaches and very non-judgmental view. So you're learning how to craft a song.
And you faced rejection?
A lot. I mean, a crazy
Would that bog you
amount.
down?
I think it took me about 6 months to understand what rejection was. Rejection is just a lot of feedback,
But I'll pause you there, because at some point, and this is very human, you would think, and I would think if I was in your place, to say, man, you have no clue what this is. I come from such a musical family and I know music. And more often than not, the client may like music, but they may not, and for them to reject, and you will think, what the hell? Like, has it ever happened to you? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what the first 6 months were. That's exactly my point. You're just getting beaten, into the ground because it means nothing.
Yeah.
Somebody's paying you and your legacy can fly out the window. Nobody gives a damn. And it's perfectly okay. It's Perfectly fine. In fact, I think in every project you start from zero.
Right.
Your reputation goes out the window. Everything that you know, you have to put in a box and leave it behind you, and you have to kind of look at it as a fresh palette. That's the only way that you can actually move forward with a lot of positivity and be lean. The startup mentality, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So creativity as a startup mentality is fantastic. Creativity as a big corporate is horrible.
Yeah.
You know. So that's one of the things. And as a project goes, and the music making process is, so you make the melody.
Yeah.
And the melody and lyrics come together, you make a song. Invariably, you present it with a guitar or a piano, and you sing it out, and the producers hear it, or whoever hears it. Whether it's a jingle or it's a film song, it's kind of the same process.
Yeah.
So you make a scratch version of it, and you present it, and then you go ahead and if once it gets approved. So
yeah.
Sometimes it can be 6 iterations, sometimes it can be 60 iterations.
Sure.
Like for example, the Satyamev Jayate title track, I can make we can put out an entire album of just the Satyamev Jayate title track options, but it's all on the same lyrics.
Yeah.
So I think we have about 9 versions of that song, all on the same lyrics, because we locked the lyrics first, and Prasoon Joshi just wrote phenomenal lyrics.
Yeah.
We were really thrilled, and I felt that we didn't have it, and we kept working on it. We worked on it for almost, I think, 6 months. And then finally Aamir went back to the second version, and that's the final version.
Okay.
But we needed to go through that journey to figure out what the possibilities were. So while it was tiring, it was not frustrating. It was just tiring. So it's very important, like, that great Murakami saying, which is that, pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So suffering is optional. You can decide but you have to have the right perspective. And the right perspective is to be light on your shoulders, and to be lean, and to be able to say, doesn't matter, this didn't work, we'll try that. And I've made crazy mistakes, of producing songs before they're approved.
Oh.
Just
so that you wanted it sounding grander.
Yeah, because you start, you don't give the team enough credit. You start thinking they won't get it.
Correct.
They won't get it until I produce the whole thing. The only time I got really lucky with that was on Aisa Jadoo, because I kind of produced the hell out of Aisa Jadoo before I presented it to Rajkumar Santoshi, and I was really fortunate that he really liked the song.
Yeah.
But also I think there it was very important, because Aisa Jadoo was kind of my audition for the role, for the job. Yeah, sort of. You're always auditioning.
So because Rajkumar Santoshi, before he probably came to you for Khakee, had done Doli Saja Ke Rakhna, Pukar, and The Legend of Bhagat Singh.
Yes.
Also.
Yes.
So he must have completely been immersed in that whole ARR process.
Absolutely.
And for him to kind of unlearn.
That's right.
And work with the new composer.
Yeah. So I've
always been thinking, how easy was it to please him, or,
No, the thing with him is he's musically, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's so sophisticated, and he's got such a keen ear for a great melody, and for what situationally what's going to work. And at that point, he was known for that one great dance track he would have in every film. You know what I mean? So he had Chamma Chamma, Kesara from Pukar, and so he was known for that one. He had that thing. So I thought to myself that the best way to be able to kind of pass this audition is to get that right. You crack that, and then the rest will be. Yeah. So I kind of, I really worked on Aisa Jadoo before we presented it to him. And I got lucky that he really loved it.
Oh, he loved it?
Yeah, so that was one of those processes that was easy. But for example, Vada Raha, I think, was sung because we just couldn't agree on a singer.
Okay.
And those are the things that frustrate you, because what happens is, I had the whole song done, and this phenomenal singer called Arnab Chakraborty had sung the scratch, and he's the guy who finally that's the one that finally went through because of Akshay Kumar.
Okay.
And Akshay Kumar backing the singer, and finally having that conversation with the powers that be.
Sure.
But before that, it was a whole bunch of industries who came in and sang it, but they couldn't sing it at Arnab's key.
Okay.
So I had to rearrange the song for their key. And if it doesn't work,
go with your conviction.
Yeah, you have to go with your conviction. And if it doesn't work, sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes the voice in your head is, and the voice that's singing the song they don't work. And then they don't match. And now you have to recast the entire thing and you have to rethink who's going to sing the song. And I think a lot of the times the most interesting process is in finding that new voice too.
Yeah.
It's a fun process because you never know where you're going to end up with that piece of music.
Yeah.
But you have to have everybody's trust.
Yeah.
If you don't have everybody's trust, then as a music director, I would always recommend to people, conserve your energy, go with groupthink.
No, you nailed it with that. You nailed that particular aspect with the first Coke story you did in 2013. I think some iconic stuff that you did with Bhavari Devi.
Yes.
And Ursa Banerjee. And I'll come to it. I'm a big fan of that edition of yours. But I take you back to this, your outings with Lalwani ji and all of these. What, you were hanging out with these people, observing. How did you eventually get your first film break?
Well,
it's not easy. Jingles, maybe.
Yeah, no, I think it's just pure serendipity.
Okay.
It's pure luck. There's nothing else to it. It's good fortune that somebody hears your name. And I think at that point, I think advertising became a sort of hotspot to source talent from.
Okay.
Because everybody from advertising was moving into film.
Right.
So whether it's Prasoon, whether it's Rakesh Mehra, whether it's, it's a whole bunch of people from advertising who are now starting to kind of almost take over the film industry.
Yeah.
So I think because I was the hot new kid on the block in advertising, I think I got that, phone call. I don't know if it's that simple today. It's really, really complicated.
It isn't.
Yeah. So, but again, it's being at so much of our journeys is down to just being at the right place at the right time. And
you would believe that?
Oh, for sure. And we're not self-made people. We stand on the shoulders of everybody who lifted us up. And we are also children of fortune. You have to be incredibly fortunate to find yourself in this position.
Who was the producer?
Keshu Ramsey was the producer of the film.
Khakee.
Yeah, of Khakee. Yeah, he was the one who reached out to me. But Rajkumar Santoshi was the one who found my name and actually decided.
So Khakee was your debut?
Yeah, before that I had done a film called Let's Talk.
Yeah,
which was not a Bollywood film. It was a indie film with a very dear friend of mine, Ram Madhwani, who we go back a long ways in advertising.
Yeah.
And because we share a deep bond in advertising, me scoring his film kind of just became second nature, and we started this conversation because the film was structured around Thumri. We decided that the music of the film needs to be all Thumri. It was very experimental. It was a lot of fun. I traveled around the country with a backpack and a recorder. I wish I had documented everything on video, but it was too expensive.
Sold it to one of these OTT.
It would have been incredible because I recorded, there's this legendary courtesan singer called Zarina Begum from Lucknow, and there's a movie on her called The Last Courtesan. If you get a chance, please watch it. It's fantastic. And I recorded her in her home, and that home it had 3 generations living over there with goats. And with goats, and she told me that, listen, I'll sing for you properly, but it has to be a mehfil because I only perform in mehfils, and you have to create a mehfil for me. So I'm this guy roaming around Lucknow with a backpack. How do I create a mehfil? Yeah, kahan se mehfil laun? So I go back to the, and it's 1999, 2000. So I 1999 actually. I go back to the hotel and I'm despondent. I'm looking around. I don't know what to do. And so the manager asked me, क्या हुआ साहब आप ऐसे क्यों लग रहे हो? So I said, नहीं वो Zarina जी को record करना था और वो बोल रही है कि वो महफिल में ही गाएंगी. And it just so happens, see again, fortune, good fortune. He said, "Arey sir, the owner of the hotel is a huge fan of hers and he's been asking her to sing for the longest time. She has been saying no. So if you want, if she's saying yes to you, we'll organize the महफिल. हम कर लेंगे महफिल. कोई बात नहीं. आप बस बता दीजिए कब आ रही हो." So we actually sent a palanquin for her. She came in a palki, it was crazy. It's like
she wanted an audience.
Yeah, she needed an audience. She said, it can only be a performance.
Wow. I like that whole swag.
It's what swagger. She was the queen. She was the greatest. She was so cool.
I think every artist should carry, not from a condescending perspective, but should carry some wait ki,
For sure, the greatest artists have a healthy ego.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, they have a very healthy ego, and I mean, even if you're recording with the top artists today,
Yeah,
it's a there's a kind of performative aspect to it.
true.
It's never just another recording.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody and any of the top singers right now, it's never just a recording. It's there is a moment, and I love it because I love having people in the studio when I'm recording singles, because I think it brings out the best in singers. There are some singers who don't like it.
Yeah.
So you go by personality, you
Sure.
go by introvert or extrovert.
Sure.
But the extroverts, oh my God, as many people in there, the better.
So Khakee was your first film. I have a confession to make, and this ties in with you talking about interludes. There are songs, I'd like to say I'm a music buff and very passionate about music. There are songs which have interludes that stick out.
Mm-hmm.
I have listened to certain interludes on loop
Mhm.
without listening to the song because, and like we all know, every song is associated with a memory.
Mhm.
And so, for example, there's a song Ori Chori in Lagan, the second interlude.
Magical.
That one.
It's just magical.
And I must tell you this, a confession moment, fanboy moment. यूं ही हम तुमसे प्यार करते चले. That first interlude, I have cried on it. I have cried on it,
Wow.
listening to it on loop. And this is back then when it had come out. I didn't, of course, know who you are. And I was reading this, like, who's this Ram Sampath? This is how my journey in life started. Like, you would look at LPs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, who's this A.R. Rahman? This is seriously. Someday I must meet him. It's like my message to the universe.
Yes.
And I kid you not, and my sister's witness to this. I was like, yaar, Pudusa yaar is talking Tamil. And some Ram Sampath. Oh, man, this guy is like, I must meet him someday.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow.
Cried on that interlude. So, interludes are very special.
Yes.
When they're crafted specially, and I think they just enhance the song to another level. When you were working with all of these people, established big daddies in their own right, but even Khakee had a very distinct sound. It wasn't like anything that was at that point in time, it wasn't the usual dink chicka ding.
Yeah, tabla dholak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
So-
a tabla dholak time.
Was there a thought, or were you subconsciously always thinking, yeah, if I do a film score, it's going to be मेरे अंदाज से होगा, थोड़ा अलग होगा, ठीक है ये मैं कर रहा हूँ, but I don't want to emulate anyone,
I don't think I had that freedom. I don't think I had that luxury. So it was a very fractious time because Rajkumar Santoshi was coming off of working with ARR, and I was a newcomer. Bhushan Kumar was very keen on tabla dholak. He was very keen on the Nadeem Shravan-ish sound.
Theka.
Yeah, tabla theka, tabla dholak thekas and stuff like that. And I was kind of caught between the two,
Plus your advertising background.
Yeah, and I mean, people keep asking me this, why I say this, that I'm a musical schizophrenic, is because actually there's like 5 or 6 sides to me musically. There's a lot of compartmentalization. Like, for example, I had a rock band called Colorblind, which was in English.
Yeah.
And that was a passion project. That was kind of the outlet of steam, the letting out of steam from everything else that was going on. Because that was purely mine. Like, there was no client, there was no approvals, there was nothing, there was nobody bankrolling it but me, So when I released Colorblind, we put it out on Sony Music, and Sridhar really helped back it. And we sold 10,000 cassettes and I think CDs.
Really?
Yeah, 10,000
That's a
cassettes.
big achievement.
And it's a huge achievement. Huge achievement. But I couldn't sustain it. I couldn't keep it running because there's no money in English music. But so that was one side of me.
Yeah.
Then the other side of me is what I was doing with Shan.
Sure.
Then the other side of me was all this kind of like this really eclectic music that I was making for Let's Talk. But there's also this Bollywood composer in me, very strong Bollywood composer in me. And that was, I think, Khakee was the time when I realized just how difficult um, the process of getting everybody on the same side is. Because after Aisa Jadoo,
Yeah.
every song became difficult.
Really?
Every song was agonizing because of the fact that this guy wanted tabla dholak and Rajkumar Santoshi wanted A.R. Rahman. And the two wouldn't talk to each other. They would both talk to me separately. So I was desperate to try and get them in a room together to.
And they were still willing to back you, a newcomer, as the composer.
They loved the melodies.
Yeah.
So the melodies were good.
This is the
songs were
arrangements
great.
where the
The arrangements were the issue. So it's always I mean, that's the thing, right? So you think the most
cracked
difficult
it.
part. Yeah, absolutely. And I was so certain I had cracked it because we had the songs down.
Yeah.
In 3 months, we had all the songs down, including Mere Mola Karam Ho Karam.
Yeah.
Everything was done. We were sorted.
There's nothing in it, by the way. Sorry, Mere Mola Mere Karam. There's no rhythm in it in that sense. It's
Very light. It's
How
very,
did they
very
accept
light.
that one?
No, that's the thing, right? So it was all that. It was just it was iteration after iteration after iteration because it was like, okay, isme tabla dholak kyun nahi hai? So now it's a weird thing to ask. No, it's kind of like saying कि हर dish में शक्कर क्यों नहीं? कि ये तो मतलब ये
हो नहीं सकता, हाँ.
yeah, it's not meant to have sugar, So it's about the recipe.
Yeah.
And if it's a one size fits all kind of approach,
Sure.
it really messes with your brain. So I had a really tough time getting the arrangements approved. So the songs were done in 3 months. The arrangements took me 2 years to get approved.
What?
Yeah, 2 years because it was just non-stop, changes after changes after changes, and the song getting rejected for weird reasons, So it took me a while to also find my bearing, to understand that. I mean,
But the director wasn't, so I'm just saying, because he's the captain of the ship, so to say. And because he came now with a 3-film stint with someone like Rahman Saab.
yeah, but the thing is, at the end of the day, the music is one of the big pluses and big minuses of Bollywood, of doing film music, is that the music in itself is a commercial entity.
Yeah.
So that's going to be sold to T-series.
Yeah.
So they're
putting in the money.
Absolutely, and they're putting in the promotion and all that stuff. So they want to have a strong say in it, But in all this, I must say that it all worked out,
Yeah, of course.
It all worked out. So I learned a lot. But I shouldn't have suffered as much as I did.
But from there, cut to say Lapata, I'm just jumping the gun. I think today you are an entity in yourself. And of course, creative differences and a little back and forth is always welcome. But I don't think if you were to yourself look back at your experience with, say, a Khakee compared to, say, a Lapata, I think you now, established your own, what do I say? I don't want to use the word identity, but I'm saying your weight, you're a heavy weight in that sense. I don't think anybody will, want to
no.
topple the apple cart anymore.
No. People constantly want to tell you what's.
Oh, you're disagreeing with that?
Yeah, of course.
I thought you were saying no, nobody can do anything.
Oh, no. People, I hard disagree. People constantly tell me what.
Even now?
All the time. Except when I'm working with Aamir. Except when I'm working with Aamir Khan Productions.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of conviction there.
Yeah, of course.
So when I was working with Aamir and Kiran on Lapata, I mean, I'll tell you something. No other producer would have approved Sajni the way it is. It's a love song set in a rural setting that has no Indian instruments.
Yeah, sorry. So because you were saying that, is that a Middle Eastern?
It's a kora. It's an African instrument. So that's the kora, and then there's mandolins.
Yeah.
And there's guitars, and it's almost bluegrass or country style arrangements.
Correct.
Can you think of any other Bollywood producer who would go with that?
Yeah, typically you would have had a sarangi or some kind of a
and for sure you would have like a tabla dholak or some sort of Indian rhythm on it. And it's not like I didn't try it. It just didn't feel right.
I will now come to a very special project that you did, the first edition of Coke Studio. Which is personally my favorite, and some songs that really stand out from there. So, Argiri Nandini, for example, a lot of people have attempted to do that. Typically, what people would do is add a beat or maybe even an arpeggiator. And what I found fascinating about the way you approached it is after the first minute, it almost felt you are listening to, one is in the whole Nirvana Metallica zone, like Enter Sandman and those kind of references. You like really went out, and what inspired you to do that?
Actually, the heart of Coke Studio for me was working with musicians. And it's one of the most amazing experiences that we recorded. I don't know how many other people did this, but we recorded entirely live. We were live on the floor.
On the floor.
On the floor. We were recording live on the floor. So it's whatever you hear, there's no overdubs, there's nothing. It's actually the recording from the floor. You can in fact hear the room mics. If you listen carefully, the drums and all, you can actually hear the room. So that's something that I take a lot of pride in. The fact that it was about musicianship and musicians playing together. And I felt that, there's a chance for me to be able to kind of pay not only tribute to my South Indian roots, but also kind of pay tribute to the fact that I come from that rock world.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like a tribute to Rush, like my prog rock, kind of my love for prog rock and the musicianship and the fact that the musicians were so good. And I really wanted them to have a showcase where, we show how magical it is for musicians to be playing together in a room. And then that transition into Ishna Chai, which is a completely different song. But that for me was really about that. It was the idea was just to, and also to explore Aruna Sairam's incredible register.
Yeah.
Because she sings that song so low and it sounds so full-bodied and so rich that, there's something so beautiful about controlled power.
Yeah.
Rather than, power you normally think is always belting and, screaming. But here the music is loud, but the singing is very, very controlled. So I love that contrast.
And of course, the other powerful vocalist on that outing was Bhavri Devi.
Yes.
What an incredible, powerful voice.
Yes.
The other song that I also loved, in fact, Aditi Singh Sharma, I work a lot with her these days because she's on a live scene with us, do gigs for Mithun. And when I reached out to her last year and I said, my reference point was that song. And I said, though it's in English, it doesn't feel out of place because the way you rendered it kind of, and it's very powerful as well.
Yeah.
The way she's done it. That is a beautiful song as well. That whole is Bengali, right?
Yeah, Shundari Komala, yeah. So Shundari Komala was another unique one where, again, it was a kind of, I try to embed myself in the episode as much as I could. And that's a song of mine from Colorblind, which is Parade of Souls. This is from my rock days.
Okay.
So the song that she's singing, which is the English song, is Parade of Souls, which is from my band, Colorblind.
The same words.
The same words.
Into the flame.
That's right. That's right. So it's the song from Colorblind, and I took that and I transposed it with Shundari Komala, which is
beautifully.
Yeah, it went really well, and Usri Banerjee, who sung Shundari Komala, is a dear friend, and I felt that the juxtaposition of that, of this kind of eternal kind of beauty of Shundari Komala, kind of celebrating the beauty of a woman, and this kind of urban angst that was in Parade of Souls was a very nice kind of contrast.
Yeah.
And they played off each other really well. I think Aditi is a criminally underrated vocalist. She's so good.
Yeah.
So she's so versatile again, So she played me. She was my voice in the episode.
In fact, last night at about 1, in the last 1 week or so, I've been listening to all your songs on loop.
Wow.
Not because of this, but I discovered more. So what happens is typically, unless you're a blind bhakt of an artist, like I always say, A.R.R. Bhakt, but I've listened to all your famous works. But as I was digging, there was so much more that I was discovering. I was like, wow. And then, of course, this question that I always ask, and it comes from a place of wishing well. Like, why isn't he doing more? Why isn't he putting himself out there more? It's like,
Yeah, well, that's a
so,
question for the industry, not for me.
So, but Coke Studio in the first edition was brilliant.
Thank you.
I've been needing to ask you, you worked with Aruna Sairanji. There are, of course, other Carnatic greats. This is coming from a bias towards Carnatic. I'm not trained in Carnatic. Have you ever thought of, and I think you should if you haven't, an EP maybe, if not a full album, with other Carnatic greats? And I think with your magic in it, I think it would just blow people away.
Well, it's been something that's been on my mind for the longest time. Just haven't gotten around to doing it.
Yeah.
I've been so busy doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I've not had but I should get around to it. You're right. I will. For
Thank
sure.
you. We will look forward to it. Because I think it's just going to be magical.
I would love to. I mean, it's just you got to make that pocket of time, and I should.
I'm
Really
happy to, and I'm saying this with a very clear conscience, I'm happy to facilitate it for you.
Oh wow.
Because a lot of them keep coming to Bombay.
Okay.
So Uni Krishnan ji, Nitishri, and all these people that I know. And so we can make it happen here.
For sure.
And
Let's figure this out.
yeah, absolutely. I move on to Talaash. What a soundtrack again. What a movie, in fact.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
My son saw it without me knowing that he's seen the movie.
Oh.
And this was a couple of years back. And he said, Dad, did you watch Talaash? And I said, oh, you watched it? I said, what about it? And he loved it. And so I sat him down and we're having this conversation. He loves music.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation came to music. And especially, so there are two songs that stand out for me. And of course, it's a beautiful soundtrack. One is the very cathartic Vishal Dadlani song. It's like, for lack of a better word, it's like every time I hear, there's so much pain in his voice, in the way you composed it, right? Especially if I'm sitting alone, memories come flooding back, and it can be a guilt tripping of sorts also.
Yeah.
In that sense. And I loved what Sona did on the other track.
Jiya
Lagena, where you used a lot of breakbeats,
drum and bass,
and all of that. Yeah. Well, because we were talking about how you spent 2 years on arrangements, how did this whole drum and bass thing come about? Was that your decision or?
No, I think we had some references that were in that zone, but I think the heart of it comes from. The soundtracks are always a reflection of my taste and the director's taste. So a lot of the taste buds on Talaash are Rima's. Yeah, and Rima and I musically we get along great. I mean, so we had a lot of references at that time that we both loved. So like for example, we loved Portishead, and we loved Massive Attack, and we loved drum and bass and Ronnie Size and things like that. So it kind of just came in from that zone. Like everything on Talaash has a resonance back to Rima's taste buds. So even Hona Hai Kya is very breakbeat. Lakh Duniya Kahe was originally composed in Yaman, but because Javed Saab's favorite rag is Yaman.
Oh.
And Javed Saab and he's such a great collaborator again. He's so much fun to work with. Because Javed Saab had lost somebody very close to him at that time. So every single song on Talaash he's written the lyrics to the melody. I composed them first and then he composed and then he wrote the words.
Yeah.
But Lakh Duniya Ka was the only song where he wrote the lyrics first and then I composed to the lyrics. And he lost somebody very close to him.
Oh.
And so Lakh Duniya Ka he just poured out of him. And I was working on Talaash and Satyamev Jayate at the same time, and I felt very badly ill. I was hospitalized.
Yes.
And I had malaria and typhoid together.
Right, and you delivered.
Yeah, so I did this. The first 3 songs of Satyamev Jayate came from Jaslok Hospital. So
have you credited?
No, I'm not going to give them any credit for that. But the fun part was that Javed Saab was there. He came to the hospital to meet me. And he said, आप ये ना चिंता करें कि मैं बहुत सेंसिटिव आदमी हूँ और मैं आपका बहुत आपकी चिंता करके मैं आया हूँ, मुझे गाना सुनना है.
Quite candid.
No, of course, he's a sweetheart.
Of course.
And he cares.
He is.
So he came and he said, why don't you sing Lakh Duniya Kahe for me? And I know that his favorite rag is Yaman Kalyan. So I composed it in Yaman Kalyan and I sang it to him. And he had tears in his eyes and he was so happy and he held my hand and he said, this is beautiful. Let's get Sonu to sing this and it'll be perfect and this, that. And I came out of the hospital and I sang it to Rima. And Rima was like, this is not my song. This is not, I don't want this at all. This is completely wrong. And I was like, okay.
मैं hospital में ही ठीक था.
So, and I'm obviously, I mean, Rima's got very strong opinions and very specific tastes, So, we had a chat.
Yeah.
And I told her, yeah, of course, I hear you, I understand where you're coming from because her reference was completely different. Her reference was kind of like Coldplay's Fix You, that zone, So, I told her, yeah, sure, I get that. So, I recomposed the song in that zone. That's the final song. But that song and Sonu Nigam are miles apart, So, that's not a Sonu Nigam song anymore. So, Javed Saab got really upset with me and with Rima. And he didn't talk to me for almost 3.5, 4 months after the soundtrack came out. Because Javed Saab was really, really angry that this song changed and, the song that he had loved he felt like a betrayal. Javed Saab, this is the thing about being creative people, right? We're actually children. So he didn't speak to me for 3 months. And I was like, what happened? Javed Saab was talking to me and, Talaash is doing well. The soundtrack's got great reviews and everything. And the movie's got great reviews.
Yeah.
Everything's happened. And 3 months later, he called me. And he said, Ram Saab, kaise ho aap? I was like, Javed Saab, aapne phone hi nahi kiya? Aap mera phone nahi utha rahe ho? Kya ho raha hai? So he told me, I didn't want to talk to you and I was really upset with you and this, that. And he said, I was driving to Lonavala and the Talaash CD is in the car. And I normally always skip the last song. Lakh Duniya Kahe is the last song. And he said, I always skip it. Never listen to it. And he said, this time I fell asleep and the song came on. And it moved me to tears. I just love the song, And I just want to say that, I'm sorry that I didn't speak to you for 3 months.
Oh.
But that's the relationship.
Interesting backstory.
Yeah, but that's the relationship that creative people share, right? I mean, it's a lot of it is like, your emotions are tied into everything that you create.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't snowball into something major. He's on record, I think, during the Talaash promotions, where he's really praised you. And he said, Ram Saab ke jo tunes hain, because like you're now saying, the lyrics were written on the tune. He's saying, ye aajkal jo chal rahe hain, waisa nahi hai. Ye bade unique hain. So he's full of praise for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's the same thing. I'm very, very wary of working with my heroes, and Javed Saab is one of them. But with him, it felt like a friendship immediately. It felt so. He's so fun, right? He's such a fun person, and he's so witty, and he's so he's charming, and he's got a ton of stories.
Yeah, a lot of jokes.
A lot of experiences. So, it's so much fun hanging out with him. It's so much fun. It feels like hanging out. It doesn't feel like work.
It feels like hanging out.
So, yeah, it's a different relationship.
True. But I must tell you that the sound of Talaash was eclectic. It really, it had your stamp all over it. The only other Hindi song in my memory that I've heard which had a drum and bass influence was Savariya from Swades. Though not as heavy, but the whole meter was.
Yeah.
But at that time, because I was asking Rahman Saab the same question, his early references were Nitin Sawhney.
That's right.
Nadia.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Nitin fan, but I hope someday he comes or we do it on Skype. But yeah, so and after that was your song in Talaash.
Yeah, I think, again, even that British Asian sound had such a huge influence even on the soundtrack, like even on the score.
Yeah.
So Talveen, Nitin, who were the other bands at that time? Trans Global Underground,
Asian
there
Dub
was
Foundation.
Asian Dub Foundation. So all of that stuff had had an influence. In fact, drum and bass has had such a strong influence on me that the second song that I've done with Bhavri Devi on Coke Studio, which I really think a lot more people should hear, is a song called Chad Chad Jana, which is it's a traditional devotional song of Rajasthan, which we performed again live on the floor. And Darshan Doshi, our drummer, has actually played live drum and bass, and it's one of the great.
Oh,
drum
I must
performances.
then. I'll be honest,
check it
I
out.
haven't. Yeah,
Please
I
check
will
it out. Yeah.
The other song that I did check out and I loved it was this whole. So I have a little bias towards, though I can't read and write Tamil, but this whole fascination for Tamil poetry, the Bharadiyar hip hop.
Yeah. That's your rap.
something.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the female vocalist on that one? Because
That's Vidya. Vidya's
her name's not.
yeah, she's not properly mentioned in that.
Correct.
Okay, no, we need to fix that then.
This is on Apple Music.
Okay, yeah, we need
Trying
to
to
fix
figure it
that
out.
then.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she's an incredible vocalist. She's somebody I know for a long time, and she's somebody that actually I called 3 friends on the day of the shoot, which is Vivek Rajgopal, who plays the mridangam and does the konakol on it, and Vidya, and who else was in that? No, I think only these 2 finally showed up. I was looking for another Carnatic violinist as well, but basically because we were ahead of schedule, and I had the chance to be able to record one more track.
Okay.
And I had the rappers with me, who are Tamil rappers from Dharavi, Dopadelics. And I felt it's really interesting to kind of juxtapose classical poetry, the themes of classical poetry, Bharadiyar's poetry, with their lifestyle and their life and their reality, and kind of come up with something which kind of, again, like music is a dialogue between generations.
I know.
So that dialogue, can we have it in a song?
What a trippy track that is.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
As technology advanced, you progress from spools to 2-track to 4 tracks to, say Cubase to Pro Tools to Logic, and you embrace technology.
Yeah.
One of the reasons I feel a lot of our friends and, contemporaries from the 90s didn't make it beyond, I don't think they woke up and smelled the coffee in that sense to kind of embrace technology.
Yes.
Because most of the work was outsourced.
Yes.
Look, I mean, I can drive and hum a melody. That is not a song. And then outsource it to somebody to say.
Yeah. In fact, in the West, that's actually called top-line composing. It's called top-line composing. When you take a production and then you write a song on top of it, it's called top-line melodies. So you can actually find online, if you look, you can find people who say that I'm a vocalist and I'm a arranger, and I'll do the top-line melody. So in a song, actually, from the person who makes the interlude to the person who makes the top-line melody, everybody is actually the composer.
And then given credit accordingly.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Here we don't.
So here, not only do we not do that, we also most of the times don't even credit the music producer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which feels terrible because I'm also a music producer.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is, I think most of I wouldn't say all, but I would say a lot of the composers who came up in the middle, from the 80s and 90s, didn't compose everything in the song.
Yeah.
They weren't. For example, if you work with Lakshmikant Pyarelal, they did everything.
Yeah.
They composed everything. But I can't say that for a lot of the composers in the middle.
Yeah.
They relied very extensively on arranger.
So the other incredible thing that you did as part of this journey, where you were dabbling in jingles and got into movies and all that you had the conviction to take a stand, and I'm referring to the whole Crazy 4 incident, which was, it's a known thing, so I'm not going to discuss much about Kya Hua and all that, but I'm saying, I'm only highlighting the aspect of an artist or a musician to be able to stand their ground and take on, for lack of a better word, the big daddies, and say, hey, listen, this is not on. What gave you that courage? You were risking literally everything, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it felt like that at the time for sure. But I think the risk was that we had as Umbro Music, Sona and I had started a pretty strong business of licensing music to advertising, and we were doing it really successfully and really well. We were able to establish in the industry, and this is why I'm an eternal optimist. Most people would tell you India would never agree to this. India started agreeing to this in early 2000s when I started negotiating um, deals in advertising, where I told them that we believe in IP and I believe in owning my own IP, so I'm going to license the music to you, even if it's we started very cheap licenses, even if it's $1,000 a year, but it's in principle that you have to accept that the music is mine.
Yeah.
And I own it and I'm licensing it to you.
Yeah.
So that had started and we were doing really well in that. And this was a violation of that, So it felt like, okay, now if we don't take any action, then everything that we have built so far is for nothing.
Beautiful.
And if your music isn't worth protecting, then it's not worth creating. So you have to have that conviction. And when they say that you need to have a value system, what is a value system? A value system is something that you're willing to stand for when it hurts you financially.
True.
Even if it hurts you financially, you're gonna put your everything on the line.
Yeah.
So that's really where I think our values really got challenged, and our decency got challenged.
Yeah.
So if we were I was very happy to have a conversation and figure out what the issue was.
Yeah, but at least have the approach for
First of all, that has to happen with a certain amount of decency.
Correct.
And the second thing is that, it has to happen on the issue, as opposed to, don't worry, why we can always offer you other things and we can offer you other movies and, we're producing.
Yeah.
That's
Correct. Don't
That's
make
not
that
the issue.
compromising.
And that's not the issue,
But did you know, Ram, there is a Rajesh Roshan Hall of Fame. There are three illustrious composers worldwide who are in it. One is Vangelis, okay, Chariots of Fire. Then there is A.R. Rahman, Mukala Mukabla, and then there's Ram Sampath, Sony Ericsson.
Oh my God.
So, how did you know?
No, I didn't.
So, Chariots of Fire was Main Teri Hoon Jaan.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Mukala Mukabla was taken even lyrically, the word to word, everything. Again, Akshay Kumar starrer. Mukala. Rajesh Roshan.
Really? Yeah. Oh, okay.
So Mukala Mukabla had 7 versions, 7 copies, and I'm going to be very open about this. 7 copies, and this is again, we were talking about satellite TV, so they had all these top 10, top 20, OA, BPL OA, top 10, Ruby Bhatia, and all of that, and there was a top 20, and so Kadalan, because it got dubbed, and thanks to Prabhu Deva and all of that, all the gimmicks, it really got popular. And then you had this Rajesh Roshan version with Akshay Kumar and I think Mamta Kulkarni, Mukala Mukabla Hoga. Then in the same top 20, there is one more version. Oh Jane Man Chehra.
I remember that. I
don't know who's the composer.
I have no idea. I just remember.
Then there is an Anu Malik version. Suraksha, Suraksha, Meri Karonge Sato Janam. I remember all of them. So, once, imagine today, in today's day and age, everything would have got struck down because of.
I mean, so that's what I mean. They were dark times, man. There was some really strange stuff going on. It was really strange.
I mean, I can't believe an industry fascinated by one song that everybody's copying. So, but you are in that Hall of Fame. Vangelis is there. You got some brilliant company.
Yeah, well.
So, yeah. So, I wanted to tell you the similarity between you and ARR. And lastly, Satyamev Jayate. Again, I can't call it a soundtrack, of course, but the album had 14 songs. The episodes were by themselves, tearjerkers. But the music that you created. So I feel, right, when I map your career, I feel I'm being very candid. that when people talk about Hindi film composers, Ram Sampath's name may not instantaneously pop up, but every few years you come and give a banger. And I'm like, hey guys, this is Ram Sampath, like, Khakee, then Delhi Belly, then Talaash, Satyamev Jayate, Lapata ladies, and now of course you've gone into the whole OTT bandwagon as a producer and composing. But Satyamev Jayate, some songs, again, Sona's very powerful vocals on Rupaiya. Oh God, what lyrics, what vocals. You know, I have a daughter at home and it resonates, ek to you're a music lover, and then this is so, what do I say, soaked in reality. It's not some fancy, What inspired you to come up with such melodies,
Actually, that one is one of the one of the few songs I think in Satyamev Jayate where it's the, I think, what are the songs I've done with Swanand? I've done Chiraiyya,
Rupaiya.
Dhime,
Tu Kya?
and I've done Rupaiya. So Rupaiya is the only song that Swanand has written before I've composed.
So you composed it to...
I composed it to the lyrics.
That's what I'm saying. What inspired you to come up with... Do you go out of town somewhere in the city? I can't imagine you getting inspired to...
No. I don't think inspiration works like that at all. So the thing with music is, I've got music is flowing in my head right now, right? So, and I have to tap out of this conversation and sit somewhere to figure out what that music is. Sometimes it can be somebody else's song. Sometimes it can be just something new coming in. So it's always flowing, and it's a matter of me tapping in and figuring out what I need to do with it. But in this case, I think I think the first 5 songs of Satyamev, I don't think it took me more than half an hour. Every single song. Like Chiraiyya was originally composed, the melody, the opening, the mukra.
Yeah.
Ori Chiraiyya, that was actually composed for Khakee.
Okay.
And I had it at the back of my head because it was composed for the situation that it got replaced by Mere Maula Karam Ho Karam. But it was composed as Suna Suna. And I had that melody in my head. And when I needed to finish Chiraiyya, when I needed to present a melody for that, this thing came back to me, but it came back with the entire song done. It was all in a place. So I remember singing a voice note of the whole song.
For Swanand?
No, for Aamir.
Okay.
So I just sang it. I sang it as a melody, and it taught me such a big lesson, that song, because I sent him the other songs on the title track of Satyamev. There's 9 productions, 10 productions, finished versions that I sent him. And on this one, I sent him a voice note with no music, no words, nothing.
No words also?
No words, because I was just singing a melody. Just gibberish. So just Suna, Suna, that was all that was in place. And everything else, I just sang it to him and I sent it to him. And he called me back saying, it's just, I love this so much. And it kind of... So, I must tell you the interesting story that happened 3 days before this happened. I was lying in Jaslok, completely out of it. We had a week for shoot. We had a week to go before we shot our first episode. And Aamir was really worried because we didn't have our first song. And he called me and he said, first I'm going to talk to the doctors, then I'm going to call you back. So I said, sure. So he spoke to the doctors about my condition. And then he called me back and he said, listen, everybody on the team, a lot of people on the team are saying that maybe you should just step down and we'll do this with somebody else. I mean, maybe after the 3rd or 4th episode, you come back. So I told him, no, I was born to do this. So, so he said, hang on, what are you saying? So I said, I was born to do this. So just give me a day and I'll get back to you with the song. And after that phone call, and he said, okay, if this is how, and so this is the thing, this is the trust, this is the conviction, this is what it means to be a producer. And this is why I have so much respect for him. It's because he said, okay, if you feel this way, you're going to do it, nobody else is going to do it. I'll speak to you tomorrow. And I had the melody, and it was the most, so after that phone call, the normal feeling would be of panic or of anxiety. I never felt calmer I felt a calm wash over me that I had not felt in years. Because for the first time, I actually, and this is one of the most important things to do in life, is to articulate sometimes very deeply what's inside you. It's to just verbalize it. And I hadn't verbalized this before. And I had verbalized it to Aamir. And I felt this calm wash over me, and the song just came. It came to me, and I remember the exact time, 8:05 at night. I had this conversation with Aamir at 6 o'clock in the evening. 8:05 at night, I had this song down. It was done. My fear was that it's now it's just me singing. It's a voice memo. Can I send it to him?
This is that
Chiraiyya. It was just a voice memo. And I was like, I don't know if I send a voice memo. It sounds crazy to send a voice memo, because this is the day and age of all production and all this stuff, right? But again, you trust your partner, you trust your collaborators, you trust your producer. And I told Sona the next day, I think I should just send it like this. And she was like, yeah, just send it. This is it. And if this is not going to do it, then I don't know what's going to do it.
Right.
And Satyamev Jayate has like 9, 10 versions. Ori Chiraiyya has one version.
It was locked.
That's it. So I sent it to him. He called me back, said, this is it. We're there. We're home. Sent it to Swanand. And by the way, we've watched the episode. One of the reasons why I actually fell so badly ill was also because watching the footage of that episode, of that female feticide episode, was so traumatizing. We went through so much. I remember after watching that footage, I think all of us, me, Swati, Satya, Swanand, Sona, whoever was in the room, we just held hands and cried, man.
Yeah.
We were just weeping, And after that, I think, I don't know, something happened. I just kind of melted or something, and I needed to be hospitalized. And this kind of got me back, It got me back in a completely different way. And I sent it, and 3 days later, I sent it to Aamir the next day.
Yeah.
Aamir said, this is it. So we're done. Sent it to Swanand. Swanand heard it. Swanand was like, my God, what a melody. We're here. We're home. It took him 1 day to write it. He sang it to Aamir. Aamir started crying. Aamir called me and he said, we've got our song. We're done. And I told him that actually Swanand's the perfect singer. He's the perfect singer. But only I can record him.
Why's that?
Because I know so Chiraiyya is a song that it makes us cry every single time. It's very difficult to go through that song and perform it without crying. Like, I'm welling up right now. So I knew that, we needed to do this together. And I knew that Swanand needed me as the engineer to record him, to go through it. Like, emotionally, I needed to be there in the room. And I needed to be the one recording him.
Yeah.
So I came back from Jaslok. It's the most insane, stupid thing to do. But I came, I spoke to the doctors. I got out of Jaslok for exactly 4 hours, came to the studio, recorded Swanand.
Really?
Yeah, recorded Swanand, finished the song. So it's all it's 4 hours. Bapi, the guitar player who played on the song, he came in. Swanand came in, finished the song. It was done. Taposh came and played all his mandolin parts. And we were done with it. I went back to Jaslok.
Readmitted.
Readmitted in Jaslok. Then 4 days later, we have to go for shoot. Again, thanks to Aamir, calls the hospital. I get out of Jaslok, go. And again, this is Aamir and Sona insisting, Kiran, everyone insisting that I have to be on stage when the song is performed. It's a team, I can't tell you, we're bonded in some sort of very strange kind of thing.
I mean, you're right, because, while we call it a song, I think it's beyond a song. I mean, it's, I don't know what to...
It's the craziest thing, So I come in, I finish the song, I go back to Jaslok. It's the most insane time of my life, but it's also the most healing time of my life, because we were just one unit, And I can't tell you the schedule Aamir was on. It was the most, I've never seen a person work harder in my life.
Does he actually, and while you're saying all of this and I'm visualizing it, does he actually react like he cried when he heard the song? I mean, when you send
He
it
cries a lot. He cries a lot. Aamir cries very easily and he cries a lot. And that's actually something that I feel makes him a good leader, you know.
Yeah, it's also healthy.
It's very healthy.
Went out.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting.
It was the craziest time. It was the first 2 weeks of Satyamev Jayate, it was the craziest time. And we wrote songs on set. I remember we were shooting, the second episode was going on, and Aamir called me and he said, "Are you out of the hospital or just like, you know, where are you right now?" So I was like, "No, I'm gonna get I'm gonna get released tomorrow, so I'll be back home." And he was like, "I don't think we have the second song. It's the song for child sexual abuse, and I don't think we have the song." And he's like, "No, the shoot is going in a completely different direction, Ram. We need a song that's going to heal. And we've made a song that's kind of like angry, and it's not going to work. We need a song that's going to heal." So Aamir and Satya, who was the director of the show, and Swati, who was the co-director and co-creator, so the three of us would constantly be on these calls. So we needed a new song, and we didn't have the words. And Swati wrote Dheere Dheere, which is the second song. So, and Swati and Suresh, who's the dialogue writer of the show, wrote so many of the songs.
Yeah.
Because they were living the show, right? So they knew exactly what the words needed to be. So Dheere Dheere came to me and I finished it again, so I think they heard Dheere Dheere half an hour before we shot it. So it's kind of like, it's a lot of it was just flying by the seat of our pants and creating stuff as we went. It taught me a lot. It taught me so much about not being precious, letting go and creating on the fly, like enjoying the process of creation. Which is why when it came even to Lapata, I don't think I gave one version of any song on Lapata. I think I must have given 6-7 versions to Kiran to pick from of every song. Because now I don't see it that way anymore. I don't get deeply attached to any one composition.
Satyamev Jayate, honestly, I mean, as you were narrating everything, I was just visualizing, and what an epic series. And like you rightly said, everything put together, right? Whether it's your music, Aamir in it, the subjects, that was...
Yeah, it was the craziest. I don't think I've ever had a presentation process that's been crazier, because I was too ill to travel. So I was working out of home, and Sona would take the CDs and present the song to Aamir. And Aamir would be driving from his house to Yashraj for the shoot.
Yeah.
And he has a Bentley. And Sona would go to present the song in our Santro.
Okay.
And Aamir would get out of the Bentley and get into the Santro to listen to the song on the way to Yashraj. And he would call me and he would give me feedback. And it would be so strange because the Bentley would be in the front and Aamir would be riding in the Santro behind.
Like an escort car. The Bentley became the escort car.
Because Sona didn't know and Aamir didn't know how to work the music system in the Bentley.
I thought you were going to say there was no CD player in the Bentley.
No. The Bentley had everything. We just didn't know how to use it.
So that is how the soundtrack of Satyamev Jayate got created. Aamir listening to the demos in your car.
That's right.
And approving and giving you notes, and
that's right.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Crazy times.
Was he also involved in Lapata Ladies, or was it purely Kiran?
No. He's always involved in any of his productions. But again, I think a lot of it comes to kind of, I think because he has such a strong sense of edit, his inputs on the music also become crucial. So it's a mix of things. It's Kiran's film through and through. So her inputs to me are paramount, first and foremost. But we as a team would go and play our music to Aamir.
Right.
So that's where his inputs would become crucial.
Right.
And I think with a soundtrack, I mean, I've made 2 songs in Rupak. I've made in my life. I made Chiraiyya and Dhime Dhime, and I don't think anybody else will allow me to make songs in Rupak. You know what I mean? He's probably the only producer who'll even approve it. So he's got that courage of conviction.
Yeah.
He has a deep love for the classic Hindi film song. He has a love for the classic way in which we made our movies. One composer, one lyricist. You know, that's the team. That's how you create stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that I really enjoy doing with him. But on this one, because we couldn't lock down a lyricist because of different scheduling issues, we opened it up, and I worked with a lyricist called Prashant Pandey on 2 songs, Sajni and Beda Par. I've never met him. I met him for the first time at the premiere.
Oh.
Yeah. So
virtual.
Yes, this is the magic of social media. He works. I think now he's Accenture. I'm not sure. And he's from Indore. And
he never said, I'm going to fly down to meet you, and I was like, no.
No, he came down for the premiere. That was the first time we met physically. But I saw his work on Instagram, and he sent me his work on Instagram. And he writes Braj and Hindi beautifully. And I thought he was the perfect person for Sajni.
So do you use Instagram as a tool to scout new talent and fresh talent?
I use social media, yes.
Yeah.
All the time for new talent.
But on that note, Ram, I want to ask you as an artist, what do you think about this whole, I mean, it's banned, but what do you think about the TikTokification of, music that's happening, a popular song, a hook line here, and then, reel after reel. For example, there's this very popular song in Tamil now, Saya Biankar, Aase Kuda. And of course, it adds to the popularity and mass appeal, or mass spread rather, not mass appeal, of the song. But do you think that's a healthy trend in that sense?
I don't
have...
I don't have a strong opinion on this, and I'm happy for people to have a great time. Both can happen. So, for example, you have a song like Toba Toba, which was super promoted. And you have a song like Sajni, which we didn't promote anywhere close to Toba Toba, but it's done really, really well.
Yeah.
So I think the audience finds what they want to find.
Yeah.
It really comes down to giving the audience a good variety of choices.
Yeah.
And then letting them decide what they like and what they don't like. But the crucial thing is that I don't think we should worry about going viral. Too many productions are and too many producers and too much content is trying to go viral.
Yeah.
Whereas you need to be authentic to yourself. You need to tell the stories you want to tell. And you need to be fascinated by the things that move you. That's really all it comes down to. Because the going viral, actually, to be honest with you, I think it only benefits the social media companies.
Yeah.
It never, you can't make a long-term career out of going viral.
Yeah.
You can go viral once or twice in your life. But you can move people for decades, for centuries.
Yeah. I'm sure.
So that's, I think, where the game is.
I saw Lapata Ladies 4 times in a theater. So it definitely moved me, because then every time I wanted a new set of friends to go watch it, I didn't just stop at saying, go watch it. I said, I'll take you. So that is how, and since we're talking about Aamir, I must say this on record. I watched his episode with Kapil on Netflix about 5 times. Again, with different sets of friends. I just loved the way he interacted.
Yeah.
He's so natural. And on Talaash, Ram, I'm sorry, I'm asking you a couple of questions. That song by Vishal Didlani, and when when I hear your song in Delhi Belly, the title song, I somehow felt, now you're the best judge, but I'm speaking purely as a listener, you could have sung that song as well, which you got Vishal to sing.
Jiya Re.
Yeah.
Well,
Was there a certain pathos that you?
no, I think, I think that, so there's many stories to Jiya Re also. It's very interesting because um, Vishal and Shekhar had just done a song in Shanghai called Dua, which had an upcoming young singer called Arijit Singh. And I had heard that song and I thought he was amazing. So I had reached out to Vishal for his number. And Vishal forgot, he got busy in something, and he didn't send me his number. And then months later, I told Vishal that, there's a song that I've made for Rima's film. And I'd love for him to sing it. And Rima and I actually thought of Vishal simply because we love the rasp in his voice. Vishal and I kind of, we're in a similar zone, vocally not that different. He sounds more raspy than I do.
So I was almost there.
Yeah. Bang on. So when she heard the scratch, the first thing, when she heard the demo, my first demo, that was the first thought. The first thought was like, man, your voice sounds really good on the song. But I genuinely felt that I wanted to try Vishal. So Vishal came in and he was going through a lot in his life at that point. A lot of emotional, stuff that he was dealing with. And he came in and he was not in good vocal shape. And he came in and he sang the song. And he heard the song. He heard Jiya Re and he was like, oh my God, I love this song. This is an incredible song. And he did not deliver that day. No matter what he did, it just didn't work. And he was just holding his head. And, we tried for about an hour and a half and 2 hours. And he said, I don't know, man. I can't sing it right. It's not working at all. And see, this is the thing, right? It's when it's music, there's no ego.
Yeah.
I didn't have to tell him even once that it's not working. He knew from the get-go that it's not working.
Sure.
So he came out and he was like, hey man, listen, it's the song of my life. Hold on, I'll be back. I'll sing this again. And I just very casually reminded him, hey man, listen, you're supposed to send me that boy's number. And he said, no, I'm not sending you his number. I'm not sending you Arijit Singh's number.
Oh.
And I was like, what? He said, yeah, I know, because I know what's going to happen. I'm not sending you his number. I'll send it to you later because he's incredible. But I'll come back and sing the song again. So he came back 2 weeks later and he was amazing.
Yeah.
And that's the final take. And about 3 hours later, he sent me Arijit Singh's number. Because he knew he had delivered, he knew, like he came out, and that's the thing, right? So it's music is such a strange thing, because sometimes I haven't seen Vishal for years. I haven't met him, like, I think the last time I met Vishal was maybe 2021. But when we meet like no time has passed.
Yeah.
Because music does that, right? So there's this one big hug when he came out of the booth after finishing Jiya Re.
Yeah.
That is like that moment when you know that it's there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, you got what you wanted.
A lot of pain in his voice in that song.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible vocal.
Complete justice
It's an
to-
incredible vocal, and I'm so glad that I managed to cast him for that.
But do you get offers as a singer to sing for other composers?
I've been very reluctant about it, but I'm okay about it now.
Ah.
I'm okay singing for others now. I was very.
But you do get approached.
The only one who wouldn't take no for an answer was Amartya Bobo, who made me sing the song called Barbadiyan. I sang the end of it. But he would just not take no. And I think Amartya is a very underrated composer. I think he's superb. So when he was after my blood, I was like, him and Gulraj are the only two,
Oh, Gulraj as well?
Yeah. I sang a song for him as well, Tanha Dil. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I should speak to my buddies and tell them that I'm happy to sing for them now.
You should sing on your own compositions as well. Is that been a conscious decision of yours now that we've, kind of mapped your entire career in that, so to say, that you are happy in your space, that when I look at it from try to give it a perspective, right? And I give it a very objective analysis, not as wanting to please you or displease you, but I'm saying, hey, this guy is doing great work, fantastic musician, fantastic sense of, but he's far in between. Not as much as I would like for. I mean, I would love for Ram Sampath to do 4 projects a year. I would love for Ram Sampath to be gigging, but. And then I analyzed, maybe he's just happy in his zone. So maybe he's not made that conscious attempt to put himself out there.
I am very happy in my zone, no doubt about that. But I'd love to play live a lot more.
Yeah.
I'd love to sing a lot more. But I think I'm comfortable in my skin now. I was not that comfortable in my skin,
you weren't?
especially in public.
Okay.
I'm like a
Because Sona,
pathological introvert. Yeah.
that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Sona, and I map her work as well. I've spoken to her a few years back, actually, when she kind of redesigned this whole act of hers, and she was gigging pretty heavily. She's really put herself out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I wonder, again, objective analysis, that as a dinner table conversation, maybe you don't discuss work, and that's none of my. But
we discuss work all the time.
Oh, you discuss work all the time. So maybe as an artist, she'd be telling you should. I mean, if I, as an outsider, can tell you that.
She's been on my case, yeah. But I should be out there digging a lot more and doing a lot more, enjoying myself a lot more. But yeah.
I'm just going to ask you one question related to Sona, and is that, and I really admire her for this. She's one of the few outspoken personalities in the music industry. She's all for women empowerment, to the extent that she's been very vocal about the fact that women representation in music, whether on soundtracks, soundtracks one can justify saying it's driven by the script and the story and the movie, but music festivals and all of that, is very minuscule. Now, hats off to her for taking that bold call and being outspoken about it. But I'm just saying, because both of you are in the same business, and sometimes does it, and you're free to not answer this question, but sometimes do you feel, or do you guys have this discussion saying it could, or maybe you're thinking it could hamper your prospects in that sense? Because it's good that one is outspoken and one is, but you know how it is, how the real world is. Like when you did this whole Crazy 4 thing, you knew what you were up against.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it worked out well, or I don't know what happened after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well.
So that's what I wanted to understand, because it's great. And if you're backing her, fantastic. But somewhere at the back of your mind, does it work that, okay, this could potentially,
I don't think like that at all.
No.
Actually, no, I don't think like that at all. I'm very happy for her to be herself. And I'm very happy for her to express herself exactly how she feels fit, because it's really how she feels is how she feels.
Yeah, it's an individual.
It's an individual's call, And I think the relationship is healthy because I genuinely think it's none of my business.
Hello, I didn't mean for you to, stamp on her.
No. I'm just saying this even from the perspective of having a strategic call on whether it's going to affect our work on that. So I must tell you, one of the big lessons I learned was from the Crazy 4 thing was exactly that. What happened was we won the case, and people thought that we 2 CR, that's what we won. But the thing is, you pay lawyers' fees, which are exorbitant. You pay everything comes to you in tranches, and work dried out completely.
Yeah, so that's exactly
Corporate India was so scared. Forget about advertising, work dried out completely. Corporate India was so rattled that I had no work for 4 months. So I was sitting at home and I was eating Sona's brains about building a bigger studio. Because I was telling her that I'm not getting the right sound. The home studio thing is not working for me. I need a proper, I need to get Andy Munro to design a studio. And she was like, "We got no work." So what are you dreaming about? So for 4 months, zero work. Remember I told you I started getting work when I was 16? So the first phone call I got after 4 months was from a gentleman called K.S. Chakravarti. Who was the first man to give me work when I was 16. And he called me and he said, Ram, I need you to do a melody for me for this brand called Docomo. And that was the first job I got. The second job I got was from Agnello Dias. And Agnello Dias at that time worked under Jax.
Okay.
When I was 16.
Mhm.
Now Agnello was an advertising legend in his own right. And he called me and he said, I need you to do a jingle for Airtel. It's called Har Ek Friend Zaruri Hota Hai.
Wow. Both were telecom brands.
And both were life-changing.
Yeah.
And the third phone call I got was from a gentleman called Mr. Aamir Khan saying that your friend Abhinay Deo has signed a film with us called Delhi Belly and he wants you to come on board as music director. Can I send you the script? If you like it, then you can sign it. So all of this happened at my lowest work-wise. I'm talking about a guy who's been working since he was 16 years old. I've never been out of work in my life. And suddenly I find myself out of work for 4 months.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the worst. I'm thinking this is not going to change. This is not going to get better.
Yeah.
And I go to a completely different level.
I can relate to everything you said about this phase of yours because, when we were warming up and I told you about this phase of mine in 2019 when I just kind of left ARR and I was actually sitting at home because, once you worked with someone like him, not that I can't pick up the phone on anybody, but I said, what will I do? And, and that friend of mine from 30 years back from college, I'd met him in San Francisco when we were touring. And he bumped into me for dinner and he said, what are you up to these days? Where are you going next? And I said, listen, I'm doing nothing. And he offered me the job at Tech Mahindra. And he said, come build this whole media and entertainment body. So I can do because, it's almost like karmic.
Yeah.
And then you feel life comes a full circle because maybe there is some connection somewhere. And, someone up there is plotting those dots and ensuring.
Yeah, and also
That's my belief.
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, I'm an eternal optimist.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to beat the optimism out of me.
Yeah.
And I genuinely believe that things will work in my favor. So because of that, I've never had this concern that I think self-censorship is a living death. If you have to constantly censor how you feel or, mind your P's and Q's, not being impolite, not being bash and arrogant and being horrible and hostile to people, but constantly having to think about what you're saying in public and constantly having to watch your words, I think can really, really impair you, as a human being. And I would never want to do that to Sona.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy for her to express herself.
Be herself.
Yeah, and express herself and be however she feels.
So I absolutely adore her. It's been a while since I spoke to her, but every time I see or hear about her, I think it really demonstrates. It's very rare. She's a rare breed. In today's world where diplomacy is, everybody is. At least she stands for what she believes in.
Yeah.
And is not kind of hats off to her. Please give her my regards.
I will.
And I hope she doesn't because I've kept you really long. But I want to end this with, again, a very philosophical thought, Ram. And this is, again, the Delhi Belly soundtrack. And I'm not kind of dwelled into every song that you did on that because it's out there. But it's been, 13 years? In fact, interestingly, I met Abhinav Deo twice. And he was introduced to me as the director of Delhi Belly because when I was at Eros, they were doing this, there's this Vipul Shah movie, I think it's about a heist. And they were doing a sequel to it and which he was supposed to direct. And I met him twice and all, but nothing worked out. Anyway, it's been 13 years since Delhi Belly came out. I have seen you justify Bhaag Ke Bose, obviously because it's your baby. And then you were giving your perspective on how one cannot isolate it given what's happening in and around us. But like we discussed, everyone's wiser in hindsight. Today, 13 years hence, would you kind of, if I were to ask you, would you now think you could have toned it down a bit in that sense, or would you still want it to be as in we were playing that song in loop before you came?
No, I'd want it to be exactly the same.
Really?
I would want it to be exactly the same. I mean, there's room for Bhaag DK Bose, there's room for Chiraiyya, there's room for everything, you know. And you have to express yourself genuinely. And that song is in fact, I think it's one of the most incredible lyrics I have ever worked with. Amitabh Bhattacharya wrote the hell out of that song.
But that was a conscious call, right?
Totally. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
The idea is that Bhaag DK Bose is really not about one situation in the film. Bhaag DK Bose is our lives.
Right, of course.
Bhaag DK Bose is the story of our lives.
Yeah.
And Bhaag DK Bose, in a sense, is the emotional heart of Delhi Belly. It's just in a different package. It's in an irreverent package. You know, like for example, Chachi 420 has this song by Vishal Bharadwaj called Thoda Thoda Bhaga Sa. So that's a different take on this.
Or Daur title song. Idhar Daur hai, udhar Daur.
Exactly. So there's a lot of, but Bhaag DK Bose is, you know, to me it's a great song. I love that song.
You
very proud of it.
Compose it to lyrics?
No. I think I had the melody first. I think he wrote I composed the verses, the antaras I composed to the lyrics, but the chorus was in place.
Cool. Ram, on that note, thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
It's been my pleasure.
Sorry to bore you.
No, it's been great.
But it was a fantastic conversation. I sincerely hope that we get to see and listen to a lot more of you. I'm sure there are millions out there around the world who would want to see you and, you know, hear you more and